Welcome to the B2T show, where we empower Christian patriots with truth. This is Rick, your host. All right, here we are on May 4th, 2020. It's a Monday, and wow, it's not a boring Monday because we have so many Q posts, another I think 14 or 15 to go over. And one of the biggest revelations I saw in there, I couldn't believe it, was just how the MSM is truly the enemy of the people. We're going to be going over how nobody needed to die, and that Fauci literally knew about the cure for hydroxychloroquine. And the fact it can even almost function as a vaccine as well, help you prevent as well as cure by just oxygenating your body, which we've been talking about from the beginning. He knew that in 2005, yet he stands up there every day and lies to us. Wow, nobody needed to die. And along those same themes, Gene's going to go over his Decode that we talked about doing. We went over the first part about what not to put on your body. He's going to go over a Decode on what not to put in your body. So it's perfect timing for us to remember, hey, we forgot to do the second part of that Decode. And so Gene's going to go over that here as we nail the Q post. So let's dive right in. I see quite a few people on already. It's so awesome to see that. Hi from Illinois, says Susie Q in the beginning, and Ida from Northern California, and Marie from New Zealand. We got Jason from Brunswick, Canada. Look at this multi-international thing going on here. Washington State's in the house. We've got Tennessee. We've got, what is that? Texas Sunshine, DeLon, Florida. So thank you guys for being on. It's just so cool to see everybody coming from all over I just love to start out just with that, and just to see people from Wisconsin and all over the country, as well as Arizona. Just from all over the place. Thank you guys so much for that. Tulsa's in the house as well. Iowa's in the house. Northern California. All right, let's get rolling on these Q posts and really get into what's going on with nobody needed to die. And if you go back and you look at these May 4th here, this is going to be the main one I'm going to be talking about in 4104. Just sickening to see how we have such a criminal media on our hands that literally wants us to die to protect the pedophiles. That is exactly what's happening right now. So I'm going back all the way down to where we are on 4.3. There we go. The last one we saw was we saw this what would have happened if POTUS challenged the COVID-19 narrative from the beginning. And then you have here, stay with me, deplorables, the big picture of Trump. You'll love how this movie ends. And I can kind of see that now, where they're going to be exposed completely when they realize, when the world realizes that there was an easy cure for this. Number one, it was a bioweapon they put out there. Number two, you literally have the hiding and suppressing of information about the cure. It's just really wild what's going on right now. So we'll get into that. So that was 4095, and I think we have 13 or 14 of these. So we'll start digging into those. First, let me get the sponsor and talk about, again, my most loyal sponsor is Noble Gold, talking about precious metals, IRAs, and 401ks. You can see the number to get a hold of them, but just discuss this with the experts. 877-646-5347. It's a perfect time to do this before taxes are due, because you can put these in play and actually can give you a tax break. Again, this is Noble Gold at 877-646-5347. And I tell you what, in 6 months' time or a year from now, however long it takes to sort out the stock market and the virus situation, where will you be? Financially, will you be in the same place? Will you be worse off, or will you be better off? If you're losing money in the stock market right now and your retirement fund is taking a hammering, you may want to think about doing something different. You don't have to be a victim of the markets. By using some precious metals to back up your investments, you can give yourself a safety net to protect you and your family from financial disaster. You can put these into your IRA or 401k rollover, get a tax break on them, and boost your returns even further. Noble Gold's helped hundreds of clients to do just this, and the reviews on customer sites show how happy folks are with the results. Join them. Talk to Noble Gold specialists today. So again, Protect your investment with a gold or silver IRA, and click the link below or call this at 877-646-5347. All right, let's get going on these Q posts. We got 4096 with the first one today, and it has a link here to a Fox News article. It says information warfare. Imagine that. Q. What is it talking about? Information, well, it talks about the Dems are deploying the DARPA-funded AI-driven information warfare tool to target pro-Trump accounts. So we were talking about this a little bit earlier, but this is actually a more detailed article, and it really digs into the fact that it was DARPA-funded initially. It's AI-driven, and it's all meant to try to counter what you're doing. So when you take those memes and you tweet those out, you put them on your Facebook, put them on your Instagram, put them on all your social media, you are causing something that the cabal is having to put DARPA-funded, AI-driven information warfare tools against us. They're the ones that are having to use the bots because we just dominate them, and they're not very good at memeing. I think everybody talks about that. They kind of joke about how the memes aren't very good from the deep state, right? They just don't have the creativity and a lot of the things that we were able to use here. So let's dig in a little bit to this article. It talks about the anti-Trump Democratic aligned political action committee advised by retired Army General Stanley McChrystal is planning to develop and deploy an information warfare tool that reportedly received initial funding from DARPA, the Pentagon's secret research arm, transforming technology originally envisioned as a way to fight ISIS propaganda into a campaign platform to benefit Joe Biden. So it goes on for quite a bit, but it's quite funny that what's causing that is us. So keep up the good work. Keep them on this information warfare. Keep them having to do this. This is the summary of 4096 was Dems deploying DARPA-funded AI-driven information warfare tool to target pro-Trump accounts. Go to the next one. We've got 4097, and we have this Breitbart article. It says, why would Pelosi, a Democrat, block origination source the rollout investigation of COVID-19 in China? Prevent public exposure of truth? Ask yourself why. Democratic People's Republic of China. Q. So this is going to be damaging when people really realize this. Exclusive Congressman Nancy Pelosi blocking investigation to Chinese coronavirus origins, tax money to Wuhan lab. And this is a Breitbart article today. And Representative Guy, this is this I'm not sure how to pronounce that, Reschenhaller, told Breitbart News this weekend that House Speaker Nancy Pelosi would rather investigate President Donald Trump again than focus on the actual origin of the Chinese coronavirus and U.S. tax dollars that went to the Wuhan Institute of Virology, from which intelligence officials increasingly believe the virus leaked. And so it's quite funny to see how this is happening, but it's just shocking, actually. So there's a whole podcast here you can listen to from this representative talking about just this, but they're basically they hate this president so badly that they would rather side with the Chinese Communist Party than defend Americans and defend our spending and spend wisely. And just be honest, that is their hatred for President Trump and disdain for President Trump's supporters. It's a quote that he has in there. So great thing to go dig into to understand this asinine Trump derangement syndrome driven Democratic Party that we have right now. Again, I used to be a Democrat. You guys probably know that back when I was younger, before I became a Christian and actually got into the Bible and started seeing about all the issues that I was given Democratic talking points on didn't match the Bible, and then the Democrats take God out of the Bible, and then all of a sudden they side with the cabal. And not that the Republican Party was clean, but boy, they've cleaned out a lot. They got rid of Flake, got rid of McCain, got rid of Paul Ryan, got rid of Coker, got all these people who resigned. So Trump has worked in the White Hats to really clean up the Republican Party, at least to where it's halfway functional. Again, I believe the party system is going to get blown up, and there's going to be one Patriot Party here soon, especially after this, everybody figures this out. So I see some ones. I'm sorry, there's a bunch of ones going on. What am I doing wrong here? So did somebody say type 1 for some reason? Press 1 if you stand with our President Trump, Brenda said. I love it. I stand with President Trump. I love it, Brenda. Thanks. I need to do a little bit more of that. I know Shady and Matrix do that a lot, to say, hey, give me a 17 if you right? So if you think Nancy Pelosi needs to be completely exposed for her satanic self, give me a 17. And so we see the 17 just scrolling all the way through. We have a bunch of ones supporting Trump. I love it. We got Kosensi and others putting 17 now for exposing Nancy Pelosi for her satanic self. Here we move to 4098, and you got Obama's parents worked on the farm, CIA training facility. Really interesting. It talks about renegade here, so he's posting a picture. And the definition that Obama personally selected for a Secret Service code name was renegade. It's a noun, a person who deserts and betrays an organization, country, or set of principles. Synonyms: traitor, defector, deserter, turncoat, rebel, mutineer. Why did Hussein Barry choose renegade as USS code name? It's really interesting. I haven't seen Q actually use the word Barry. So that is pretty cool to see that the whole Barry Sorrento, the fact that he was a foreign student, wasn't even U.S. born most likely. But we do know something, that his official parents supposedly, but that raised him. We do know that. What were they all about? Well, we'll find out here. It says define renegade. Hussein Barry, parents both fluent in Russian. So they put Barry in there twice. Is Russian a common language to learn? Public career history, mom and dad. Public career history require Russian language as a prerequisite. Farm work takes special skills. Q. So this is something that's important, guys, is that the farm is obviously the training in Langley when it goes into the CIA, and they need, in order to do their operations, their black operations, they need people that can speak different languages, and one of them's Russian. Very non-common language, but something that the CIA can use. So clearly showing that Hussein Barry was a maturing candidate, completely selected to be a traitor toward our country and bring it down with the 16-year war to destroy America. Barry was going to take the first 8 years, with Hillary the next 8 years. Praise the Lord that we have President Trump elected. The Lord put his hand and saved this nation by giving us a reprieve. And we need to continue to pray for him to heal our land. Pray. The world's praying for us right now. We need to be literally doing what 2 Corinthians 7:14 tells us, is to repent for our nation, repent for our personal sins, turn from our ways, and ask him to heal our land. That is exactly what we need. If we can all be unified in that prayer, unified in that, then things that the QAnon army and trusting the plan is actually going to happen. Now, if we all get in fear, Satan's going to get a feed on that fear. And if we believe these reports that this disinformation units are out, and every time there's something negative, we turn on the Q movement, we turn on Trump because he gave power to FEMA. Come on, guys. If we trust in God and he's going to heal our land, then let's trust him. And let's ask him and pray for what we want. That's the biggest message we've had over the last 3 weeks, right? We have a lot of power in our prayer. We're the red-pilled Christian patriots. We're the remnant. We're the army of God. Your prayers are important. Make them positive. Make them toward what you want. And don't let fear destroy you. Fear of 5G. Fear of FEMA. I'm so sick of getting those emails. So quit sending me emails about those. Guys, it's time for you to have faith and ask for the healing of our land. I guarantee you, a 30, 40-year plan to take down a 100, 200-year-old cabal was not stupid enough not to think about how they're going to handle FEMA. And wasn't stupid enough not to figure out how they're going to figure out what they're going to do with AI and 5G. Of course the plan accounted for those things. Read The Art of War and you'll understand that. So I'm sorry about the frustration, but I'm getting really frustrated with a bunch of naysayers, doom and gloomers, and negative people getting fearful at the time that we need to unite with our prayers toward healing our land. Okay? Please get the fear out of your life. Have faith, and let's pray in unity and see what happens. It's going to be an amazing time, guys. 4099 gets into a memorandum Barr put out that says, Memorandum from Attorney General, subject, balancing public safety with the preservation of civil rights. Many policies that would be unthinkable in regular times have become commonplace in recent weeks. And we do not want to unduly interfere with the important effort of state and local officials to protect the public. But the Constitution is not suspended in times of crisis. We must therefore be vigilant to ensure its protections are preserved at the same time that the public is protected. I thank you for your attention to this important initiative and for your service to our country. That is a memo written by A.G. Barr, a memo on balancing public safety with the preservation of civil rights. That is a very good message because, boy, do people need to understand that. Somebody saying the plan also includes all countries. Some haven't seen this yet. Yep, you're exactly right. That's what I love about this plan. I mean, obviously, everybody's praying for America because that is, if you're going to have a new world order, you can't have a strong America, right? So they had to destroy America. So rescuing America, if God heals our land, that ends up healing many other countries. And you already see God's plans way beyond America. You're exactly right. It actually touched. Just look at Brazil. You talk about the Trump, the Brazilian Trump, and the Australian Trump, and looking at the European Trumps that we're getting in these various places. It's quite exciting to see nationalism and globalism dying everywhere. It's quite exciting. That is 4099. You go to 4100 and you get a meme, and it has Thomas Jefferson here with his famous quote that says, "When the people fear the government, there is tyranny. When the government fears the people, there's liberty." Thomas Jefferson. Woo! Love that quote. So was that a great meme? Put that out on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram or wherever you can put it out. Again, memes are a powerful way. They don't get censored nearly as much as just writing text, right? So these memes, just pictures of something that's powerful like this, send this out, because right now they've tried to put fear in and give the government power over the people, and the people had to fear being arrested if they opened up their businesses, versus the opposite, when a group of people would come together and the government fears the people. That's when liberty actually happens. So it's interesting times right now. That's 4100. 4101, we get in there. It says, and I like to do the summary at the end. It says, why is there an active, coordinated disinformation campaign being deployed using misleading headlines, no original source attached, tactics, and pushed in attempt to amplify? And I know that's a tough statement because there's so many brackets there. So I'm going to read it without the brackets real quick so people will get a better feel for it, especially on the podcast. Why is there an active disinformation campaign being deployed using tactics and pushed in attempt to amplify? And it's talking about it being coordinated, misleading headlines with no original source attachment. And it goes, direct original source attacks or push predetermined and orchestrated false claim statements of others. Think Decodes. Constant MSM attacks. Why? Why is the MSM attacking QAnon? When does an enemy expend ammunition? For what purpose? Question what you read from every source. Use discernment. Q. That's a good point. Question what you read from every source. And that includes this source. right? That's why Q does the Socratic method of just asking questions. He wants to get you to think for yourself, train you to not trust any source until you've peeled back and actually see where the original source is on this. And this is why you see so many fake news stories that have no original sourcing. That's why you see I put these show notes together with massive sourcing, hundreds of links sometimes, right? And when Gene pulls together his decodes, he pulls together tons of links within those decodes so that you guys can go think for yourself, dig deeper, right? The summary of this one is the enemy is constantly attacking Q in order to stall the Great Awakening from spreading. It ain't working. I got news for you. 4102. All right, we got a tweet here, and it says, "Good example. See previous post." Q. And this guy is a Trump derangement syndrome dude using swear words. So I'm not going to read it all, but it says, "I am understanding this correctly. Sheltering a home is a hoax. Sheltering at home is a hoax, but," checks notes, "JFK Jr. faking his own death in order to help Trump round up a gang of international sex traffickers is real." And then he swears and says, "You stupid idiots are why our country can't have nice things." So here they take something that Q's never talked about. Q's never said that JFK Jr. faked his death. Right? So that is a false statement. Now there's some people saying that, right? This is one reason why I don't like to use this topic, especially around blue pill people. It's far-fetched to many people's minds, and even if it's potentially true, it's not key to this movement. That's why this guy says in this case you bring in the JFK Jr. speculation. Not only has QAnon not said this, but when asked directly whether JFK Jr. is alive, QAnon answered in the negative. The JFK Jr. speculation is fun, but not at all central to the main thesis that QAnon has been rolling out. So there's a lot of discussion going on back and forth. The worst thing we can do is talk about the fringe theories to blue pill people and push them, right? Let's stick to the basic facts, and I think we'll do a lot better. I think that's what Q's trying to get to us, is stick to the basic facts, think for yourself. Here's 4103. The summary of 4102 was example of disinformation campaign against Q. False claim, no original source, Q drop. Right, it's not even the Q drop. It's a false claim. There's no original source because they don't want to point to the Q drops. So if they were gonna say, obviously this is a public board, qmap.pub, qanon.pub, right? And they talk about it being part of the dark web. Now the dark web takes special tools to get to. They talk about fringe parts of the internet. No, it's like a public website. And there's all kinds of links there. Why do all these fake news articles never link to QAnon? Because they don't want people to go there. Because they'll wake up. They're scared of it. That's why it's our job to link to Q. Okay? So you can see in my show notes, I link all to the Q post that we reviewed that day. That's 4102. So that's why I go sign up for the show notes at bless2teach.com, bless2teach.com. Every morning I send you all these links. So you can think for yourself, spread them to your friends, take pictures out of them and memes. They render really nicely on WordPress, so you can actually copy them without having to go to all these links. It's just right there on the WordPress forum often. So I think you really enjoy the show notes. Again, that's bless2teach.com. And by the way, I know we're starting late here. We are backstage right now. But we had a exclusive at 7 p.m. Central Time with Gene. That was phenomenal. But deep topics and topics that some people might not want to go there. But if you want to really go down a red pill, deep information type stuff, challenge your thinking on different things, join us backstage. Again, same place, bless2teach.com, bless with the number 2teach.com, and join us there. It is amazing what we learned at 7 o'clock. And all that will be recorded, has been recorded, and will be up and live by midday tomorrow at the latest. I hope to get up late tonight. So here is 4103, has sample past 30 days. Do you understand? Q. And it's got a sample of all these articles, and he just did a QAnon search on Bing, right? And it's kind of interesting he doesn't use Google here. He's using Bing, which is not much better in my opinion. It's basically Microsoft's censorship engine versus Google's censorship engine. I think I told you I use DuckDuckGo. Somebody's telling me that's been purchased by Google. I'm not sure if that's true. I know I get much better search results on it now. But here you can see if you search on QAnon, which is, obviously they're going to show you the bad articles. It's all going to be MSM articles. As Trump's picks for intelligence chief followers, a slew of QAnon accounts. A QAnon devotee live streamed her trip to New York to take out Joe Biden. Right, so they take all these fringe people and try to classify them as crazy. They even attacking, I noticed here, Liz Crokin, right, who was featured as at the end, especially at the end of Out of Shadows. So, man, that outofshadows.org, keep that spreading. That is waking up a lot of people that never were interested in this movement at all. But it's because it's a stunt man. It's a kind of an exciting thing. It's really waking people up to the evil of Hollywood and also to Pizzagate. So Liz is doing a great job. She did a great job on that. Let's keep that spreading. They've settled a lawsuit with that Tiffany that they had with. So things should be rolling here that we can all support that as outofshadows.org. And that's just an example of the past 30 days. You can go look through more of those, but it's just hit article after hit article with no sourcing pointing back to Q because they're scared, they're chicken, to actually link back to where these 4,000 posts are. And they always lie about what the main premise is. They say it's fringe part of the internet. False. It's dark web. False. There are a bunch of enemies of the people. Deep state puppets. The summary of 4103 is more examples of the constant and coordinated attacks on Q. Now we go to 4103. This is the one that I based the name of the show on, and that is Nobody Needed to Die. And 4104 is a classic drop, I believe, by Q. Shows the fake news media and how they really, truly are enemy of the people, led only by 4 a.m. talking points given by the actual criminal cabal. And it's really scary, guys, when you really understand that they would rather keep their jobs and lie and to encourage more deaths, and then lie about what could help people so that they can stay in power. This is scary stuff if you really look at it. So this is 4104. The reason I have this thumbnail behind me of Fossey up here speaking and lying to us every day. Why do I say that? Because Q tells us right here. He first shows us this list of all these articles using the 4 a.m. talking points to try to use this false study they did to what was done by the VA with a very limited number of people to try to tell you hydroxychloroquine is bad. Oxygenate your body with a very safe pill that's been used for years at 66 cents a piece. No, you need a $1,000 pill. And you also need a vaccine from Bill Gates. That's what the MSM wants to tell you, because they're a bunch of freaking liars. Excuse my French there, but it is really frustrating to me when you see what they're doing. And this is article after article after article. In fact, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times 1, 2, 3. So there's 26, 27 articles here, all coming out on the same day. And I wish they'd put the time on these because it's really interesting when you see the times, because it's right after 4 a.m. You'll see them coming out at 4:16 or 4:28 and 5:10. Right after 4 a.m. when they get the 4 a.m. talking points. And they use the same terms. No benefits, more deaths. More deaths, no benefit. No benefit, more deaths. No benefit. More deaths, no benefits. This is them completely lying to you about hydroxychloroquine. And they say no benefit, more deaths. No benefit, more patient deaths. And they don't even report on the thousands of success cases, or at least I would say at least hundreds of success cases of people that have actually taken this and it's cured them, and going all the way back to 2005, which we're going to see here in a second. And so just keeping this in mind, more deaths, no benefit. More deaths, no benefit. More deaths, no benefit. There's doctors that I've seen talking about how hydroxychloroquine is safer than Tylenol. That's safer than Motrin. And so why would they lie to you about this? And here is an article, and all Q says is reconcile Q. And basically, this article says Fauci knew about hydroxychloroquine in 2005. Nobody needed to die. This is an article we need to tweet, and we need to put on Facebook, and we need to wake up our friends and family. This says, again, Fauci knew about hydroxychloroquine, HCQ, in 2005. Nobody needed to die. This is in News Now, and it is by Brian Fisher, guest columnist. It says, Dr. Anthony Fauci, whose expert advice to President Trump has resulted in the complete shutdown of the greatest economic engine in world history, has known since 2005 that chloroquine is an effective inhibitor of coronavirus. How did he know this? Because of research done by the National Institute of Health, of which he is the director, in connection with the SARS outbreak caused by the coronavirus dubbed SARS-CoV. The NIH researched chloroquine and concluded that it was effective at stopping the SARS coronavirus in its tracks. The COVID-19 bug is likewise a coronavirus labeled SARS-CoV-2. While not exactly the same virus as SARS-CoV-1, it is generally related to it and shares 79% of its genome, as the name SARS-CoV-2 implies. They both use the same host cell receptor, which is what viruses use to gain entity to the cell and infect the victim. The Virology Journal, the official publication of Dr. Fauci's National Institute of Health, published what is now a blockbuster article on August 22nd, 2005. This is 15 years ago. Under the heading, get ready for this, chloroquine is a potent inhibitor of SARS coronavirus infection and spread. Emphasis mined throughout. Right, as researchers, we report that chloroquine has strong antiviral effects on SARS-CoV infection of primate cells. These inhibitory effects are observed when the cells are treated with the drug either before or after exposure to the virus, suggesting both prophylactic and therapeutic advantage. I don't want to underemphasize that. That's basically saying it kind of acts as number one, once you're sick, the therapeutic advantage, but also the prophylactic means it's almost like it functions almost like a vaccine. So if you were given hydroxychloroquine, just like that's why my wife and I have been on the hydrogen peroxide drops. They're called the hydroperoxide cleanse. It basically prevents you from getting the virus as well. This means, of course, that Dr. Fauci, pictured at right, here he goes right here. I don't know why he said that he's on the left. I don't know why I said right. Has known for 15 years that chloroquine and its even milder derivative hydroxychloroquine will not only treat a current case of coronavirus therapeutic, but prevent future cases, the prophylactic. So, HCQ functions as both a cure and a vaccine. In other words, it's a wonder drug for coronavirus, said Dr. Fauci's NIH in 2005. Concentrations of 10 completely abolished SARS-CoV infection. Fauci researchers add, chloroquine can effectively reduce the establishment infection and spread of SARS-CoV. Dr. Ryder Rold and Anthony Fauci of France had such spectacular success using HCQ to treat victims of SARS-CoV that he said way back in February 25th that it's a game over for coronavirus. He and his team of researchers that the use of HCQ, administration with both, I guess this is that Z-Pack, azithromycin, and zinc, cured 79 of 80 patients with only rare and minor adverse events. In conclusion, these researchers write, we confirm the efficacy of hydroxychloroquine associated with azithromycin and the treatment of COVID-19 and its potential effectiveness in the early impairment of contagiousness. The highly publicized VA study that purported to show HCQ was ineffective showed nothing of the sort. HCQ wasn't administered until the patients were virtually on their deathbeds, when research indicates it should be prescribed as soon as symptoms are apparent. Plus, HCQ was administered without azithromycin, and zinc, which from the cocktail that makes it supremely effective. Because obviously if you oxygenate the body, then it allows the zinc to get in there. And so the whole point is they didn't even do what was prescribed. And so it was a big, huge lie that the MSM talked to you about. This is scary when you see all these people, 60,000 Americans dying, hundreds of thousands of people across the world dying, and you have the cabal's mainstream media hiding how they could have not died. Nobody needed to die is the part of the title of this article. At-risk individuals need to receive the HCQ cocktail at the first signs of symptoms. But Governor Andrew Cuomo banned the use of HCQ in the entire state of New York on March 6th. The Democrat governors of Nevada and Michigan soon followed suit, and by March 28th, the whole country was under incarceration in place fatwas. Nothing happened with regard to the use of HCQ in the U.S. until March 20th, when President Trump put his foot down and insisted that the FDA consider authorizing HCQ for off-label use to treat SARS-CoV-2. On March 23rd, Dr. Vladimir Zelenko reported that he had treated around 500 corona patients with HCQ and had been seen an astonishing 100% success rate. That's not the anecdotal evidence Dr. Farsi sneers about and sneers at, but actual results with real patients in clinical studies. Since last Thursday, my team has treated approximately 350 patients in Kairos Joel and another 150 patients in other areas of New York with the above regimen. Of this group and the information provided to me by affiliated medical teams, we have had 0 deaths, 0 hospitalizations, and 0 intubations. In addition, I have not heard of any negative side effects other than approximately 10% of the patients with temporary nausea and diarrhea. Said Dr. Zelenko, if you scale this nationally, the economy will rebound much quicker. The country will open again. And let me tell you a very important point. This treatment costs about $20. That's very important because you can scale that nationally. If every treatment costs $20,000, that's not so good. All I'm doing is repurposing old available drugs, which we know their safety profiles, and using them in a unique combination in an outpatient setting. The questions are disturbing to a spectacular degree. If Dr. Fauci has known since 2005 of the effectiveness of HCQ, why hasn't it been administered immediately after people show symptoms, as Dr. Zelenko has done? Maybe then nobody would have died and nobody would have been incarcerated in place except the sick, which is who a quarantine is for in the first place. To paraphrase Jesus, it's not the symptom-free who need HCQ, but the sick. And they need it at the first sign of symptoms. While the regressive healthcare establishment wants the HCQ cocktail to only be administered late in the course of the infection, from a medical standpoint, this is stupid. Said one doctor, as a physician, this baffles me. I can't think of a single infectious condition, bacterial, fungal, or viral, where the best medical treatment is to delay the use of an antibacterial, antifungal, or antiviral until the infection is far advanced. So why has Dr. Fauci minimized and dismissed HCQ at every turn instead of pushing this thing from Jump Street? He didn't even launch clinical trials of HCQ until April 9th, by which time 33,000 people had died. This may be why. Chloroquine, a relatively safe, effective, and cheap drug used for treating many human diseases, is effective inhibiting the effectus of spread of SARS-CoV. That's the problem. It is safe, inexpensive, and it works. In other words, there's nothing sexy or avant-garde about HCQ. It's been around since 1934. Given human nature, it's possible, even likely, that those who are chasing the unicorn of a coronavirus vaccine are doing so for reasons other than human health. I can't see into anybody's heart. I can't presume to know their motives. But on the other hand, human nature recognizes that there's no glory in pushing HCQ. And nobody is going to get anything named for him in the history books. The polio vaccine was developed by Jonas Salk in 1954 and is still known as the Salk vaccine. There will be no Foxy vaccine if HCQ is the answer to the problem. So while Dr. Fauci is tutting and poo-pooing HCQ, Dr. Walt and Dr. Zelensky are out there saving lives at $20 a pop. Maybe we should spend more time listening to them than the wizards of smart bureaucrats the talking snake media fawns over. Dr. Fauci is regarded by the talking snake media as the oracle at Delphi. The entire nation hangs on his every word. But if nobody is dying and nobody is locked down, his 15 minutes of fame fades to zero. Very few people are not going to be influenced by that prospect, especially when it's easy to keep the attention of the public by continuing to feed the panic. It should not be overlooked that there is no money in HCQ for Big Pharma, since HCQ is a generic that can be manufactured so cheaply that it's little profit margin in it. On the other hand, the payday for a vaccine will literally be off the charts. Who knows what kind of behind-the-scenes pressure is being put on Fauci and others in the healthcare establishment. There's a monstrous reputational risk for those who will be found to have dismissively waved off a treatment that could have been used from the very beginning, even back on February 15th when Dr. Fauci said the risk from coronavirus was minuscule. How many lives could have been saved if the heads of our multi-billion-dollar healthcare bureaucracy had been advocating for HCQ treatment from day one? We'll never know. Instead, their advice has been dangerous and deadly in every sense of the word. Someday, maybe even today, we will be able to identify the individuals who had the knowledge and expertise to make a global difference, but turned up their noses at the solution when it could have made all the difference in the world. Wow. Sorry for taking the time to read that whole thing, but wow, what a great job by Brian Fisher telling the truth. We'll see if this video gets taken down. We'll see if YouTube suppresses this or blocks it. If this article gets lambasted by the fake news. Whew. Thank you, Ward Roberts. The boat parade in Florida was most excellent, dude. Thanks. Where we go one, we go all. Wow. I tell you what, I'm sorry we're going to go a little bit late today. If Gene has the energy, we're going to still go roll. But this is a classic Q drop that we need to get out to the world. 4104, showing the blatant lies of the media and how that article they're purporting was done based upon giving almost dead patients the incorrect combination of drugs, and then purposely slandering it so that more Americans will die and more people in the world will die, so they can create their panic, so they can try to keep their secret society, satanic cabal, pedophilia going. Scary stuff, guys. This is waking up people right and left. Please use your social media accounts to get this out. 4104. Classic Q post. 4105, I think is the last one that we had. Let me refresh real quick. Yep, here we are. This basically talks about DARPA, Facebook, Twitter, Google. Democrats coordinate and development of AI tool in an attempt to counter your reach. Now public, see previous drop, demonstrates your collective influence. So they've got these AI tools used by the criminal deep state right now. that are trying to counteract you. We need more help, guys. We need people that don't have Twitter accounts to go make Twitter accounts, please. It's very easy. It takes you 5 minutes to do. Follow the people I'm following. You probably see the link down below where you can get the 60 top Christian patriots. Follow them. Retweet them. We need to get this message out. Get it on your Facebook. Get it on your Instagram. Whatever social media you use. If you don't have social media, please get some. Let's use these enemies' devices against them. It says, think MSM daily attacks, losing ground. You are winning the information warfare campaign. Support will always be provided. Undisclosed methods. Q. So this is really interesting. Why they have these deep state, DARPA and Facebook and Twitter and the cabal leadership that they put in these. Q and the team are using undisclosed methods to help us. And something happened to me about 35 days ago. This channel was completely hidden with algorithms completely on it. Now something's happened where 400 to 500 people a day are joining to hear from Gene, hear from this channel that's providing truth. Armor up, Digital Army. Thanks, Ward Roberts. Memos loaded, ready to fire, sir. That's exactly right. Wow, 4104. I'm just asking people to. You can also do this. You can go to qmap.pub, roll to 4104. Click on this button right here. It says read, and then it gives you a link to that specific post. And if people will come to that post, they will actually see this picture as well as the link to the article. This article needs to go worldwide. Kosensi says 17. If people want to run overtime, if you are okay with doing Decode, as will mean 1.5 hours long tonight. Sorry for my long tirade there, but boy, that was just got me excited, Gene. I apologize for taking so much time, but Gene has a great decode on what not to put into your body. So it's not just making sure you understand hydroxychloroquine and the hydrogen peroxide cleanse and all the stuff that you should be putting in your body, right? It's about what do we need to get out of our body that this same criminal organization have been poisoning us with for day after day or week after week. So, wow. I'm just telling you, 4104 is a classic. Get that out on your social media, please. And look at 4105. This is exciting, too, just to know that we have undisclosed methods supporting us. I really believe part of that is unleashing this channel. They've unleashed Shady, and if you look at the growth of channels, you just see those two exploding. I think even Christian W is growing big right now. There's a lot of Dustin Nemus was being held underneath 100,000. He's now exceeded that. So we are growing now, and so it's time to be sharing this video, guys. Really appreciate you doing that. Thank you, Fred Cares. I appreciate it. This is the time that we can actually get information out that we would never have given out. I'm also have editor. You know, I'm paying quite a bit of money per month for an editor that's doing a great job. And so I have these things called clips. And so make sure you're also subscribed to the Blessed to Teach Clips channel. That one's still completely algorithmed out. Everything's being hidden. But you can take those and share those. And they're 15-minute, they're designed to be 10 to 15-minute videos with no commercials. And they cut out some of these type of ramblings. So Omar, our editor, is doing a great job. And so we're spending a lot of the great support you guys are giving us, like on Backstage. Backstage helps financially, so we can afford to do those things and put all these tools in place and all these platforms in place. So we're going to get into Gene's Decode right now. Gene, when you're ready, I'm ready to roll.
Anytime you're ready, Rick, as long as everybody and you're okay with going like an hour and a half long.
Yeah, so this is probably 45 minutes. Looks like you got a lot of 17s, though. So I'd say let's go for it.
So let's make sure here. Give a 3 if you don't want to run an hour and a half, or I guess you could go and listen to it later. So we'll just stay with the 17 then.
Yeah, we could get it tomorrow if people want to just have this done at a later time. I know we're trying to get in later in the week, potentially part 8. Everybody's asking, when's part 8 of the Dumbs coming, of the Underground War? And Gene's working on it.
Yeah, I'm working on the U.S. Recap because I'm up to 306 now in the U.S. So he's working on the rest of the world. We're talking about how to do it today. And so thank you, Ward Roberts. And so
Yes, we're
it's going to be so complicated. The whole rest of the world is getting, it's taking a lot of work. So we're trying to get it done for the end of the week. It may not go till the beginning of next week because it's so complicated. So I guess the 17th have it. So Leslie, if you get too tired, realize you can come back later. And I know it's getting late for some people. So apologize how long it's going to run, but we'll go ahead and do it. Thank you, Hannah.
yeah.
Hannah.
I do want to announce, since we did the whole backstage already and went almost an hour and a half, I think over an hour and a half with Gene, that I'm not going to do the backstage after this, right? So after the backstage, we'll probably just do a real quick prayer. We're not going to have any backstage questions for Gene at the end. Okay, so
Thank you, Pom Mom, for the consideration. But I'm not. I don't do tired much. When I've had a sleep, like I had 7.5 hours sleep
right.
last night, and I've had 8.5 hours.
No, I'm being selfish. It's me, Gene. It's me.
Yeah, so
I'm on my work week.
I'm okay
so.
with 3 hours of sleep for 3 days, so I'm really pretty good. I'm not
Right.
very tired. I walked my girls in the park. It was a beautiful day. It was a blessed day where it was so beautiful. It was God's incredible beauty. It was blue sky with light, fluffy clouds, warm with a light, cool breeze. It's for me what I call a God blessed day, where it's just a blessing from God, and so I'm just fantastic. So. The U.S. and I'm waiting, and I've been asked for Germany. Yeah, so yeah, I know all my Germany people are going crazy for the Decode. And I talked to my German coordinator. He's such a wonderful person. Oh my gosh, I have so many wonderful, patriotic, God-loving people that are now my coordinators. It's just like I feel so blessed. I mean, I've got the best, the new person coming online for Canada. I had a big, huge, long talk for like 5 hours, getting that person ready to coordinate, and is already working on all of Canada. So when you send an email to me from now on, if you don't send, like if you're in the U.S., you have to put US/ in caps, all in caps, US/ your state, or if you're in Canada, CA/ in your province, like BC or etc. I'm just going to send it back to you with that on it, or your country. If it's Germany, all in caps, France, all in caps, Czech Republic, just put Czech, all in caps, etc. So it's just going to come back to you because I'm getting coordinators all over the world. So that said, I guess we go ahead and start the Decode, Rick.
Yeah, I just wanted to get your little maybe 2 minutes, Gene, on what you thought of this Fossey article that I read. Isn't that just crazy?
Yeah, these people, I've seen some pretty violent, disgusting things that actually I can't even conceive of how you can do the things they do anymore. That's coming out of the tunnels down up in Denmark now. They're taking kids out of the tunnels in Denmark, and some of the stuff I've seen is so, I can't conceive of how you can rape a baby or a woman giving birth. It's so hideous. I can't understand it. It's just so hideous. It's worse than anything I have ever had in my very worst nightmare that I could have ever imagined. But it's just these people, like Fauci. I mean, you have something that can cure people so they don't have to die needlessly, and yet you're so disgustingly evil. And I mean, my German coordinator is so sweet and kind. He goes, I got to believe that there's some way back for him. And yeah, there's a way back. It's called Jesus Christ. But, oh my goodness, they're so far gone. It's just saddening.
Yeah.
And it's horrific.
So what radio shows were you on, just Gene? Can you announce that, or
Yeah,
when
I
they're coming?
did 2 radio shows in the last 3 weeks. The first one was called April Radio. It's Raw Spiritual program that goes out to 10 million viewers worldwide. And I'll post the links backstage for all this. Kirsten W. also does a really great thing where she links it all on one link at the 12 decodes I've done on her channel. And she's so sweet. I mean, she's such a wonderful person and loves God. And then also I was on His Glory, and I talked
His
to
Glory.
the
Okay.
guy, and they have 10 million people too as well. Although I should have told them halfway through that we're not going to make through 306, and they said, "Can you make it through 306?" And I'm thinking military, right? So I went into hyperdrive, and I'm literally reading so fast that later when I listen to it, I'm like, even I can't follow
Yeah.
myself.
All right, but heck, God will use that, I think, and I think it's part of why this channel's grown as well. So I
I
appreciate
guess you could
everybody's support.
play it over and over and get all the dumps because I'm doing 4 or 5. I'm doing like Arizona
All
or
right,
California, but this one, white hat control, this one, dark hat control. It's like, oh my
right,
goodness, it's
yeah.
insane.
I got lot of nice people saying, "Oh, you just let Gene, Rick, you go to bed. Let Gene go." And I go, "Well, unfortunately, I'm also the producer here, so all
I'm
my."
okay with that. We got Lou's moderating.
That's
Go ahead
right.
and take a nap, Rick.
So I'm running all the equipment. I'm running the OBS. I'm running everything. So I can't go to bed. So but I
Okay, sorry. So as we start, uh, this material offered is solely for educational and informational purposes. Any products and or information presented are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA in the USA. The reader understands that the author is not engaged in rendering health or medical advice or services. The author provides this information, the reader or the listener provides the author provides the information and the reader accepts it with the understanding that people act on it at their own risk and with full knowledge that they should consult with licensed primary care professionals for any medical assistance they may need. The author is neither a medical nor nutritional professional. And I've used all of this information for over 30 years to get my health and literally saved my life several times. It's a theory that I live on, but what you do is, like you said, you do your own research, use your own prayer and your own logic to come to what is best for you.
all right. Thank you, Gene.
Yeah, thank you, Rick. So we'll just page all the way down to the internal because that's where we left.
Yeah, we did the external already, and so and that was you can search on external Gene Decode, and you'll probably find that. It's probably a couple months ago, Gene, at least, huh?
Yeah, I think it's well over 2 months ago. I have to put that in my links for all. I have a link I send to people all my decodes. I don't know if I have that one in there. I don't think I do. I've been sending it to Germany and all over the world before with one show missing. So
Internal considerations.
yeah. So internally, one of the first and the worst is what is called canola oil. There is no such thing as a canola plant. When you see all natural and they'll tell you how wonderful canola oil is, it's a Monsanto hybrid. They trickily hybrided. They don't say it's through GMO, but essentially it's using the very same principles. It's very close to it, but it's made from a rapeseed plant. And the reason they're using the word canola, it comes from the Canada oil. So it's a derivative from the word Canada oil. It's not really natural at all. And the top 6 dangers of canola oil is that first, it can cause severe kidney and liver problems. Secondary, it can be life threatening because it can cause heart troubles. It also can cause a stroke through hypertension, and it can cause a retard of normal growth in cells as well as young children. And it can increase the uptake of unhealthy trans fats. And what a trans fat is when you heat fats, the hydrogen bonds rotate so that it's the same chemical structure, but the orientation of the bonds are different. So it bonds to the body's amino acids and to the cell receptor sites differently. And then it also has a lot of potential health and side effects. And this is all documented in this. And I have the links which show all of the side effects and everything in here.
Wow. Other than that, it's great for you, huh?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's great to use on weeds.
Yeah.
Because you kill weeds with it. So canola oil is its scientific name is there. It's a oil seed crop that was used back during World War II. It was great for oiling guns and cannons and hardware and machinery. And so once the end of World War II happened, they really didn't have a use for it. And they had all of this oil that they had and all these plants that they had hybrided. And so they needed something to do with it. And so what they decided to do was to pump up how wonderful and amazing it is for your body.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's really, like they say, think healthy, right? Think they're healthy food choices when they're not healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's just like they did with your herba instead of herbe, herbe. They trick you very subtly and cleverly. They're very good at being deceptive
Mm-hmm.
and not telling the truth at all.
Mm-hmm. Am I going too fast? We're talking about.
Now I'm good.
Okay.
So
So a lot of links to GMO shopping, non-GMO shopping guide. So that's cool.
this is a really good link. I put this in here because it tells you how to shop for things that are not GMO. Because even like in the health food store, I go in Colorado here, we have Vitamin Cottage, and they have all kinds of products with canola oil saying
Mm-hmm.
it's natural. And I go, how do you figure that canola is not? Thank you,
Thanks, Diane.
Diane Silver. I'm
Mm-hmm.
sorry. That canola is natural. It's a weed, number one. Number two, it's hybrided. And so it's not naturally occurring. It's something that actually is very harmful to the body. It can also cause thinning and hair loss, by the way, if you care about those things. Some
Yeah.
people like having hair.
Yeah. Great link, Gene. Thanks for finding that for us.
So canola oil is actually made and it becomes a trans fat in itself because of the way they have to extract it. They heat it while they press the canola oil seeds out to get the oil out of them. And so that actually causes it to be rotated into a trans fat itself. And it's very, very high in uric acid, which is a fatty acid that is from a mustard seed that's already been known to cause heart damage. And so they press this, heat it, and have magnetized rods that pulls it out. And then they wash it in a hexane wash, which also is toxic as well. And so the natural waxes and everything that they use to create vegetable shortening and everything leaves this, and then they bleach it to get that out of it. And so it's by the time you get done,
Canola
I mean,
oil
you've
is a
bleached
commonly
it, you've pressed it, you've heated it, you've made it into a trans fat. I mean, it's so beyond anything healthy by the time you get done.
Yeah, interesting. And a whole video that talks about how it's made,
And
huh?
then showing how it's made there, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that looks really, no, let's eat that.
It's all chemicals.
Okay.
Yeah. Interesting.
Mhm.
More reasons to just make us sick, right? Get us
Yeah.
on and then get us on big pharma drugs.
Weaponize their food. I mean, there's so many other healthy oils, like Ice Princess says. You could use avocado oil. You can use olive oil. You can use grapeseed oil. There's so many oils that are actually good for your health. So after a 60-minute wash in hexane solvent, I mean, oh my goodness, that's disgusting.
Thanks, Ken.
Yeah, thank you so much. So the canola is in the turnip family, and like I said, they were using it on a lot of ships, and during the World War One and especially World War Two, and so it's a really excellent lubricant. I mean, it doesn't break down because it's not very natural. You can't really oil a gun turret with olive oil, so canola oil is great.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Just
And
don't put it inside your body, right? Mm.
right, and so they gave it what's called the GRAS certification, or generally regarded as safe by the FDA, and they actually paid, the canola oil company paid $150 million to the FDA to get this GRAS certification. In other words, they slid some money under the table to get the certification, so everybody would say, okay, generally regarded as, I want always regarded as safe, thank you.
Yeah, wow.
And so they got $50 million, $150 million under the table and $50 million above the table. So they actually gave $200 million total.
Mm-hmm.
And then in 1986 through 1991, the rapeseed oil was being fed to cows in their grain to cook their grain, and it caused mad cow's disease, which is like Kuru, where the brain gets holes in it and causes dementia, insanity, and death.
Mm-hmm.
And so the same thing here. This goes into the genetic engineering of the canola and how the word came up, like I said, from canola oil being made from Canadian oil. It's still a rapeseed plant, albeit genetically modified, it's still a rapeseed.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not something that's very good for the body at all. It also contains, due to how they grow it using Roundup, which means now it also has the glycophosphate in it, and that causes what's called leaky gut. And a lot of wheat problems is actually due to because they're using Roundup. So the leaky gut or the irritable bowel syndrome is due to the Roundup being used on all our plants and being grown. And they literally go over that with crop dusting airplanes or big, huge machines and dust it with Roundup, which kills
Wow.
the water table as well. And then this mixed with the canola oil goes into the ground table and is even more detrimental to our ecosystem. And the FDA, like Sweet Reed said, they need to be exposed because the people who work for the FDA are only part-time employees for the FDA. They're full-time employees by the major pharmaceuticals, and then they're night lighting at the FDA. So they have the major pharmaceuticals interest really at heart. So they're going to push
Yeah.
the canola oil because then if you get leaky gut, you need to go into the hospital and you need to use their drugs. So the bottom line is that the canola oil is very inflammatory. It's also, a genetic engineered. It's a trans fat. It has chemical residues. It has glycophosphate, and it should be avoided at all cost. And
Wow.
there's, another link there that is explaining again, how detrimental the inconvenient truth about canola oil. So there's a lot of excellent articles I attach here to back up what I'm saying here. I'm not just talking out of my ear, you know.
Yeah. Thank you, Gene, for doing that. That's one of the things I appreciate about you most is that you're able to make sure truth is on this channel and that we have links for people to think for themselves.
Yeah, and when I say things, please listen to exactly what I said. Like the Hanks thing, I said that three of my sources said it. So when I say things, listen to precisely, and we won't see it in the news till after that date. I didn't say when after that date, okay, or where after that date either. So listen carefully to how people, like when you read the Bible, read it carefully. Don't assume something that your pastor is saying to be truth. Read it for yourself. Read the cue board for yourself. Use your own discernment, your own logic, and your own prayer to come to your own truth. And stop listening to people and believing that anybody, including me, is some kind of authority. Use your own discernment, do your own research, and then you can test it for yourself. Get a rat, and I feel sorry for the rat, but get a rat, give it canola oil,
Mm-hmm.
watch how it has life-threatening heart trouble, gets fibrotic lesions of the heart.
Yeah, not good.
Mm-mm.
So is canola oil really popular, Gene? Is a lot of people
Oh yeah, many,
real?
many, many, many things. Most chips, potato chips, you look, they're cooked in canola oil, including a lot of them that say natural. Especially
Wow.
here in Colorado, they have a whole brand of chip that says natural, baked, not fried, organically raised potatoes, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But then they're using canola oil.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the big companies like Sam's Club, a lot of their stuff, they sell canola on big, huge amounts. Like, and here it again, they're saying retards normal growth, hypertension, etc. Another article saying the same thing again. Blood coagulation problems. So it actually it changes the erythrocytes and how the body blood can coagulate, and it can cause strokes because you can't coagulate.
So most potato chips have these in them, huh? And those little goldfish. Is that right?
Yeah, yes, exactly. The little goldfish.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Just amazing that something like this can be so prevalent, isn't it?
Yeah. So, when you look on your products and see if you see canola oil. If you do, don't buy it, don't use it, don't eat it, don't consume it, unless you want to put it on your weeds to kill
Mm-hmm. Wow. The best oils for cooking. You talked about this. So there's a lot of other natural good.
That article is really great. Coconut oil, grapeseed oil, avocado oil, ghee, natural butter. I mean, there's many alternatives you can use besides using that. And grapeseed oil is really excellent because it has a lot of healthy properties. Walnut oil, sesame oil, flaxseed oil is really excellent for killing parasites. Red palm oil is also, it helps kill, it also ups your triglycerides, and really healthy. It has omega-6s and all kinds of excellent things. So there's final thoughts about how to cook healthy with oils that are good for you instead of canola oil.
Great. Thanks for that article. That's awesome.
Thank you so much, Rick.
And just talked about coconut oil in more detail.
Mm-hmm. Coconut oil is really good for you. It actually will help reduce blood pressure, and this article mentions that, goes into that.
Olive
it also
oil.
gives you omega-3s, which are very important as well.
Mm-hmm. So each of those that you talked about, you actually brought in here. Cool.
Mm-hmm. I've got different articles, different ones. I brought in tons and tons of links here.
Awesome. So it's not only what not to put in your body, you gave us a lot of stuff to actually put in our body.
Yeah. Instead of just eliminating something, I wanted you to give you an alternative. Now what do I use?
Yeah.
If I'm not going to cook with oil, how do I cook?
Right.
So I gave you many different. Margarine is actually a synthetic. Don't use margarine. Use real butter. Real butter does not cause high blood pressure. High blood pressure is caused by consuming things that have aluminum coating, like table salt that's steamed with aluminum hydrosilicate that bonds to the red blood cell, and not getting enough vitamin C that causes hardening of the arteries. So if you up your heart rate, your blood pressure goes up.
Avocado oil looks like it's good for sure.
Oh yeah, and actually pretty tasty too. I kind of like when some of the chips I buy, they use avocado oil, and you can. I love avocado. It tastes delicious, and I like to have that flavor in the chip. It's like, oh, that's nice. I mean, I don't eat a lot. I just eat like maybe, a handful of chips. So a bag of chips lasts forever for me.
Yeah, it's a big part of my diet is the avocados in general, just because of the shepherd's diet / keto, right?
Yeah, guacamole and avocados with vinegar on it. Oh my goodness, delicious.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Pico, and God bless you too, sir.
Did I miss one?
I appreciate that. Mm-hmm.
Didn't see it. So canola oil, wow, it's popular in almost everything. That's just crazy.
Yeah, so there's so many things that it's in. It's just.
So I think we saw those already, right?
Yep. So let's go ahead and go back, and we'll go to the next. And this is a list of, like I said, again, another article that goes into the list. It actually is a cause of diabetes. It can help exacerbate or even start type 2 diabetes. Wow. As well as, like I said, it can cause high blood pressure. It causes leaky gut.
And so high fructose corn syrup as well.
Yeah, that's the next one we're going into.
Okay. So I jumped in it. So
I think you went down to high fructose corn syrup. Yeah, we're down there. So
I'm sorry. So I'm not. I think it's right here. That's just the introduction to it.
Right here. The next one is HFCS, or what is a super sweetener, high fructose corn syrup. And another thing, almost every soda is full of high fructose corn syrup.
Mm-hmm.
So it causes very similar things to what the canola oil. It can cause leaky gut. It can cause type 2 diabetes because you're ramping your blood sugar, because you're not supposed to be getting sugar at that level.
Mm-hmm.
It has way more. It actually has mercury quite often per milligram, up to 570 micrograms per milligram of mercury in it, which is very lethal. So it's been known high fructose corn syrup causes massive weight gain. It's been known to cause cancer. There's many studies, like the American Association of Cancer Research has found that high fructose corn syrup that will cause various types of cancer. They go into the specifics in this article about the cancers and how it increases the rate of cancer. If you already have it, it really exacerbates the situation. If you don't have it, it's been known. It also causes fatty liver and liver stress. And, you can't live, your liver is responsible for filtering all of the blood. And so it's very important that the liver is healthy. And on Backstage, I have a liver document that how to make an herbal tea that will balance and help your liver.
And I'll make sure this this full document's Backstage. You'll get the second part of it. You know, both the internal and external will be Backstage. Obviously, in my show notes, you'll see the part that we went over for this show as well. And you can go back to the other show that we did from research and find the first part. Another great article by Dr. Axe, it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
The fatty liver disease.
Oh, hepatitis, etc., is some of the results of a fatty liver.
Why you should never eat high fructose corn syrup. Diabetes too. You were talking about that earlier.
Mm-hmm. Leaky gut. In other words, irritable bowel syndrome is the beginning of leaky gut.
Mm-hmm. Here's one on diabetes.
Mm-hmm. Causes literally holes in the digestive tract, in the intestine, large and small intestine.
Wow. Yet, the not so sweet truth about high fructose corn syrup. But it's sweet.
Yeah, it's really sweet.
The only good thing about it is it's sweet, right?
Increases mercury uptake. So there's a list of some of the brands that contain high fructose corn syrup there. There's a list of an article saying how the high fructose corn syrup has mercury in it because of how they process it and make it.
Wow. I was just looking to see if I recognize any, including products by Quaker, Hershey's, Kraft, Smuckers. Talking about second highest labeled ingredient. Scary stuff. That's scary stuff. Yeah. Hey, Backstage, please mute. Go ahead, Gene.
So they create HFCS, or high fructose corn syrup, with a caustic soda, which then creates a heat instability. And the HFC contains no enzymes, vitamins, minerals. It's only sugar and calories. There's nothing beneficial. All it does is ramp your blood sugar, and then once the body burns that unnatural sugar, extremely concentrated sugar, then the blood sugar crashes. And so that ramping up and then crashing down. That's why you see children, you give them sweets and candy with HFCS and they're running around in circles. Mm-hmm. And then suddenly they crash, they get all cranky and throwing tantrums, and then the next thing they're asleep. And so it's very unhealthy, especially even more so for children than adults. It's still not good for adults, but even more so because children are developing in it. They need to have a normal diet and a healthy diet. And so it's very important for children to eliminate HFCS.
Wow, 20 popular foods that contain it. Soda, candy, sweetened yogurt, salad dressing. Wow. Frozen junk foods. Let me know if I'm going too fast, Gene.
Keep going, Rick. You can do it.
Breads, canned fruit, juice, boxed dinners, granola bars. Wow. Most people think those are healthy.
Yeah, most granola bars that are sweetened with HFCS.
Wow.
Most breakfast cereal, most store-bought baked goods, most sauces and condiments, almost all snack foods have HFCS.
Wow.
Almost all soda that you buy, cereal bars, nutrition bars, coffee creamer, energy drinks, sports drinks, jams and jellies, ice cream.
Wow. This is why I'm on the keto diet.
Yeah.
Keeps me away from this crap.
Yeah.
20 foods was high, and that's just the article that details that out, what you were talking about, right?
Another link saying the same thing. So I give, people can say that's one source. I give many.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so the next thing to watch out is that our wheat has been genetically modified. They say it's not in the not modern sense of actual gene splicing, but what they did is they crossbreeded using chemical gamma and X-ray, what's called mutagenesis. So it's actually is genetic modification. It's just not using viruses to insert the genes. They're kind of running around the idea of, yeah, it's not actually, we didn't modify it with viruses. We just hit it with radiation, X-rays, what is called mutagenesis. I really don't, that's a pretty fine line. It's
Yeah.
really not true. And so if you get the einkorn wheat, which is the biblical wheat, which is only 3 feet tall and 1.3 bushels an acre, and then they came out with an article from the Bilderbergers called uh, Global Pandemic 2000, in which they said if we didn't, this is back in the 90s, if they didn't get some way to feed the world by the year 2000, the whole world would collapse and we'd have massive starvation. So they did this change in the wheat in which they modified the wheat and they got it to be, instead of 3 feet tall, 9 feet tall, and instead of 1.3 bushels an acre, they took it up an entire magnitude where it gets 13 bushels an acre. And another problem with this modified mutagenic, we'll go by the correct word, so I won't use GMO, it's mutagenic wheat, is that it has a whole lot of new proteins. The gluten's bad, almost amylopectin A is in there, as well as several other, there's over 14 proteins that the human body has never seen before. And so these things cause craving, where like when you do marijuana, you get cravings, you get the munchies. Mm-hmm. Wheat does the same thing. So they put it in everything because it makes you want to eat. And so if it's an ice cream, they put wheat and ice cream in candy. It's in a lot of liquor. So the wheat I get is, the licorice I get doesn't have wheat in it because it makes you crave things. It's not natural for the body to be doing that. So this mutagenic wheat, if you do get wheat, that mutagenic wheat will also absorb the Roundup more readily and the mercury more readily.
Wow.
So, yeah. And the stalks are so long that, it bends over, it breaks, it doesn't absorb the minerals like the zinc and the magnesium and the iron and the copper. So and selenium that your body needs from the ancestral wheat, or the biblical wheat as they call it, which is the einkorn wheat, which you can still get, but it's very hard. So this mutation that's done through gamma rays and X-rays and microwave radiation, which they call mutation breeding, it's what they call mutagenics. And it takes up melathion really heavily too, which is essentially, what they used in World War II in the concentration camps. So,
wow.
Yeah, not very good to have in your body. And the next one is really, really bad as well. These are the top three I put on top, is aspartame.
Yeah. So let's just look at this last article here. Looks like it didn't find that one, but we'll fix that.
I guess they changed the link.
Yeah.
So aspartame actually originally was a mind control drug that the Nazis were using for Project Markov, which later turned into Mark Ultra. And it's a brown, viscous, bitter liquid, but they found by a slight change in it, you could, with an additive of methanol, which is wood alcohol, you could make it very, very, very sweet. And so it was advertised and pumped up as a sweetener. And so what it actually does is, it's still why they used it for Mark Ultra. It makes your mind pliant. So you're easily suggestible. So you're eating these sweetened foods and snacks while you're watching TV, and they're blue screen pulsing you with all kinds of subliminals. And they're repeating things over and over and over and over on the news, and it's going into your head. Bush bad, orange man bad. Oh my goodness, he's a racist, he's a feminist, he's a Nazi, he's this, he's that. And your mind's pliant, and you go, okay, that must be true then.
Wow. That's scary. So it's part of the mind control thing as well, right?
Yep. So some of the side effects of aspartame are what are called cluster headaches, as well as migraines. Because again, it's changing how the blood flows. It also can cause diabetic complications. It can cause vision problems. It can cause glaucoma.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I drank so much Diet Coke, I can't tell you in the past.
Can cause hearing issues and extreme sensitivity to loud sound, damages the cochlea inside the ear, chronic inflammation of joints, arthritic symptoms, skeletal pain, and of course, that situation on her. Weight loss.
Yeah,
The tube effect, the tire tube.
the studies are showing that people that drink tons of Diet Coke actually gain more weight.
Yep.
Kind of wild.
Risks of seizures. And so, it's why I had friends from France, and they said we could, but until it got to France, they could tell Americans because they had a different way of looking when they're fat. French people get fat too, but it would look different because the aspartame, the way the body stores fat, is totally different because it's not natural. It also comes with abdominal pain and cramping because it's upsetting the digestive fluids and the enzymes in your digestive tract. It's
Wow.
actually destroying them, so you're not digesting your food.
Wow.
Causes irritable bowel syndrome, leaky gut again. It also can antagonize and create colon and intestinal cancer.
Man, 10 possible aspartame side effects. And so that's part of what this article is right here, huh? That you went through.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Gene. That's a great one, too.
So part of the eye effects, I just listed the side effects here for you to see it straight out. With the eyes, it can cause blindness in one or both eyes, blurry vision, bright flashes, squiggly lines, tunnel vision, decreased night vision, pain in one or both eyes, decreased what's called dry eye. So if you wear contact lenses, it makes you can look like Shifty Shift with the bulgy eyes.
Yeah. That's what I do, guys. I use stevia based on Gene's recommendation. That's what I put in my coffee. And
Natural.
yeah.
It can also cause ringing or buzzing sound in the ears, severe intolerance to noise, and actual hearing impairment. Neurologically, it can cause epileptic seizures, headaches. Scroll up, Rick, please. Thank you. Migraines, dizziness, unsteadiness, confusion, memory loss, severe drowsiness, sleepiness, paresthesia, or numbness of the limbs, severe slurring of speech, severe hyperactivity, what they call restless leg syndrome, atypical facial pain, severe tremors. Psychologically and psychiatrically, it can cause severe depression, irritability, aggression,
Wow.
anxiety, personality changes, insomnia, phobias. In the chest, it can cause palpitations, tachycardia, shortness of breath, high blood pressure. Gastrointestinally, it can cause nausea, diarrhea, sometimes with blood in the stools. That's because it's causing holes in your intestine. Abdominal pain when swallowing. For the skin, it can cause allergies, itching with a rash, lips and mouth reactions, hives, aggravated respiratory allergies such as asthma, endocrine and metabolic imbalances, loss control or diabetes, menstrual changes, marked thinning or hair or hair loss, marked weight loss, gradual weight gain. I mean, it can go, depends on your genetics. It causes you to lose weight to where you get too thin, or gain weight where you can't lose it, because it's destroying the balance of the metabolism. Aggravated low blood sugar, hypoglycemia, and hypoglycemia is the beginning of type 2 diabetes, by the way. Severe PMS. Other things it can cause is frequency of voiding, burning during urination, excessive thirst, fluid retention, leg swelling, bloating, which is called edema, bloating, increased susceptibility to infections, mental retardation, severe depression, aggressive behavior, birth defects, peptic ulcers, and an addiction, which is a craving for sweet and hyperactivity in children.
Yeah, that's what I had, I think, as far as increasing craving for sweets. Yeah.
Yeah. Additional systems of aspartame are death, or irreversible brain damage, and suicidal tendencies. In other words, suicidal tendencies, that's called, if that succeeds, it's called death.
Yeah.
Aspartame can trigger or mimic any of the following diseases: chronic fatigue syndrome, Epstein-Barr, polio, Lyme disease, Graves' disease, Meniere's disease, Alzheimer's, ALS, epilepsy, multiple sclerosis, EMS, hyperthyroidism, mercury sensitivity from amalgam fillings, fibromyalgia, lupus, non-Hodgkin's, lymphoma, attention deficit disorder. These are not just allergies, but diseases and disease syndrome due to aspartame poisoning is commonly misdiagnosed and is sometimes the mock textbook disease, such as Graves' disease. is actually due to aspartame and this change in the ratios of the amino acids of the blood, blocking and lowering levels of serotonin, tyrosine, dopamine, neuropinephrine, and adrenaline. Therefore, it is typical that the aspartame symptoms cannot be detected in lab tests or through x-rays. The test disorders may actually cause a toxic load situation of aspartame poisoning.
Wow. And here's a whole article about that as well. So
Mm-hmm.
just crazy.
And when you're looking at a decrease in dopamine, now you're actually starting to talk about it could be misdiagnosed as Parkinson's and cause Parkinson's as well.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Crazy. Nice article. Beautiful. And the dog.
It's my baby. That's my mascot out here.
All
She's
right.
smiling because we don't do that at home, do we, baby?
Right.
It's my fur baby. See
That's
the
awesome,
smile.
dude.
So I wanted to tell everybody thank you and God bless, and I hope that this will help you to be a little more healthy
Yeah.
and a little more holy.
And I think there's a new cue here. We'll get that in a second. But I kind of want to wrap up this theme because this kind of goes right into nobody needed to die with, basically having proper treatments of our diseases, which we don't have now. And so, but also you just see the evil of these people and what they are doing with our wheat, what they're doing with our oils, what they're doing with our drinks, and aspartame's in almost everything nowadays, Gene. It's like scary stuff.
Yeah.
Pretty much anything that's low calorie, right? It seems like.
And again, it's a mind control drug.
Yeah.
It makes you mentally pliant. That's the whole. So does fluoride, and combined with fluoride, it's a 10 times magnitude. You put fluoride with the aspartame, and man, oh man, the effects are multiplied by 10 times either one individually. So you become very mentally compliant, and it literally destroys the pineal.
Right. Wow. Crazy, crazy stuff that they would actually, these people are so evil that they would actually kill us slowly through the food. It's amazing, amazing. So that was, I know we saw 4105, and that was at 5:15 p.m. So just like one more, just talking about 8chan here, and just making sure Michael accidentally unmuted. So 8chan, that's what we used to be on. Now we're on 8kun, right? Toolkits can be helpful. This is the NSA government resources everyone. And what this is talking about is how to use maybe 8chan as well as for 8kun, I would imagine, what this is about. So what would I be guess? I'm just decoding with you guys right now. Happy New Year to Al Gilder users. We look forward to more collaboration beginning open source community in 2020. National Security Agency released the source code for this. It's a reverse engineering tool of April 4th. The source code repository includes instructions to build up all supported platforms. With the release, developers will be able to collaborate by creating patches and extending their tool to fit their cybersecurity needs. So interesting. So NSA unloaded this tool. Software analysis tools. Capability included assembly, disassembly, decomposition, supports a wide variety of processor instructions. Users may develop their own plugin. So I think that this has something to do with doing research, etc., that the anons use, is what I would guess. I don't have time to really dig into that, but you guys let me know what you think it is in the comments below, and we'll dig into that tomorrow. In the next episode, whenever we have that. It might be tomorrow night, might not be, but I know we have, again, some great decodes. Even my son's working on a decode about the Antichrist system. So it's going to be a Josh decode coming here soon.
Lou has a great decode he sent to me, and I made one slight alteration, but it's really fantastic.
That who sent you?
Lou.
Lou, awesome. Sounds awesome.
That's
right. Oh, yeah, I did see that. I did see it. So we'll have a Lou decode, a Josh decode. If you guys want to team up and do some decodes as well, I do kind of want to run them by Gene, just from a perspective of getting his thoughts on them. I think it's obviously good to have that.
And I wanted to say from Palm Mom that it's important that you pray over your food and give thanks to your food. It literally changes the energy of the food.
Wow.
And when you pray and give gratitude for the food, you should wait when you say thank you. Wait for it. Took me 6 months to get this, but wait for God to say you're welcome.
Mm.
And that actually creates where you can have conversations like I do with God.
Mm.
And so wait for your welcome. I actually felt a tap on my shoulder and heard you're welcome, Gene. I was like whipping around. Where did that come from?
That's
Like,
cool.
yeah. And so when you give that gratitude, it creates a circuit. And the guy Mesmer, who invented hypnotization, and later built the galvanic skin response machine to detect lighting, what they call a lie detector. They hooked up eggs to make an omelet in a carton to the lie detector, and they cooked an egg, and then somebody just ate it. And when they broke the egg open, the person who just ate it later, while they're breaking the egg open, the eggs in the carton went nuts. The galvanic skin response on the egg, the surface of the eggs went crazy. But later they cooked an egg, and the person later ate the egg. Before they ate it, they prayed over it. And when they cracked the egg, so it's actually reacting back in time to what's going to happen. So the person prayed and gave thanks for the egg, and in gratitude to God and all of creation, the Holy Spirit, and Jesus Christ. And the eggs in the carton, when they cooked the egg and broke it open, didn't react because the person later prayed over the egg.
Wow.
So it changes all of everything.
Prayer is
So
powerful, basically, right?
yeah, you need to pray and give thanks and gratitude to what you eat and drink. It's really powerful. Prayer is incredibly powerful.
So Q is posting right as we're
Wow.
alive here. It's kind of exciting, guys. This might be something really exciting. If you think back to some of the predictions, Q's, if you look at some of his earlier posts, talks about how eventually these anons are going to end up being able to crack some of these massive secret society codes, etc., and all these archives that are out there. This may be the tool. That's the first thing that I just once I saw the second one, which was really basically an anon says should probably get around to messing with that. So the NSA releases basically these tools that will help really, I believe, potentially crack all these codes of where the secret societies are hiding a bunch of their information. So this could be really interesting. So obviously Q's pointing the anons, toolkits that can be helpful. So for these brilliant autist type people, or these brilliant people just patriotic, they love the country, they hate evil, and they are just incredibly good researchers, what we call anons, right? And they don't really care about the fame. These guys are the ones that are doing a lot of heavy lifting, and it looks like they just got some help from the NSA with some new resource tool that's going to help them dig into this. And that's why Q is reposting. Yes, you should probably get around to messing with that. So if you're an anon, thank you so much for your hard work, for your research, for helping us think for ourselves, for investigating all these questions that the anons, that Q is asking as far as the Socratic method and leading us with these breadcrumbs. Thank you for doing the baking and getting us all the information. We do really appreciate you guys. And exciting time right now. We'll refresh one more time before we pray and end this puppy. These episodes are getting long, Gene. There's just too much going on.
Yeah, caffeine addicts going, I'm getting sleepy.
Yeah, I know, exactly. So we're at 11:24 my time, and I've got a full day of work.
Oh my goodness, Rick, sorry.
Okay. All right. I know some people on the East Coast. We're way past there. So let's pray this out. But gosh, how exciting! And I want to kind of go back to this tag that we have here, and it's just amazing. Oh, that was your old one. That was the exclusive Gene did on sun gazing. So is this nobody needed to die, guys? This is just crazy of what we're looking at. And thank you, Gene, for the what not to put in your body, and that includes canola oil, as well as aspartame, and as well as some of this wheat. Try to get to ancestral wheat as much as you can, or go on, like I am, on the shepherd's diet / the keto diet. Heavenly Father, just thank you so much for the privilege of serving you with this platform. It's so awesome to just meet so many awesome people like Gene and Lou and the many other moderators like Amy and others. Thank you so much for that privilege. And Lord, we just pray that this evil cabal will be exposed. Fosse on all the way into these pedophile rings, Lord. Please rescue the children. Lord, please expose these people that are actually producing the aspartame and producing the canola oil and producing this unhealthy wheat. Expose the system, Lord, so that we can move on to becoming people that grow closer to you as we become higher stranded. We get our pineal glands healthy so they can produce the proper melatonin. All the things that we're talking about backstage, Lord. Give us wisdom to discern. Make sure everything ties back to the biblical text and to the one true God. Thank you for Jean's love of the Lord. And Lord, I just thank you for the privilege again. And may you bless everyone that's listening to my voice now. I say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Thank you. Jean, do you want to do a turbo prayer to end us if you have the energy?
In the name of the one true God of all creation and his Son, Jesus Christ, and the Holy Spirit, we thank you for bringing the truth and the healing of your wonderful foods that in their natural form and to expose the evil and the stripping of our health and our foods through the lies of the fake food that the minions of Satan have provided us. Give us the discernment to know the truth for the foods that are good and the foods that are bad and destructive to our bodies. We thank you for this prayers in the name of the one true God of all creation and his Son, Jesus Christ, and the Holy Spirit. As it is said, let it be done and sealed now and for all time.
All right. Thank you so much. We will have a very turbo backstage here. I'll do my show notes and give you guys around 5 to 8 minutes to ask Gene some questions. But God bless you guys. We love you and thank you so much for joining us. Remember, nobody needs to die. Let's get that word out. And you guys take care. We'll talk to you next time. You've just listened to the Blessed Teach Show. You're now empowered with the truth. Don't miss the edited short B2T clips on a new channel called B2T Clips. A big thank you to all the supporters on Patreon and PayPal. You are truly appreciated. For the links to these sites, as well as links for show notes, Backstage with Blessed Teach, training courses, and more, visit blessedtoteach.com. That's blessed with the number 2, teach.com. God bless, and be sure to go empower others with the truth.